Congratulate the seventh Jerusalem conference. May you go from strength to strength. It's very important to have this Jerusalem conference, which the more we put Yerushalayim, as we say, al rosh simchatenu, whether it's political, whether it's religious, of course, whether it's spiritual, whether it's academic and think tanks. We would like to have more think tanks here in Jerusalem, like the Jerusalem conference. So for that, I want to congratulate everybody, and of course it's an honor to be here and to share the platform with very, very dear friends, but also great leaders and visionaries in their own fields. Of course, Ambassador LaRocco, which I've known very well from Washington and from here. He had a great responsibility in the multinational force in Egypt, and he was very, very instrumental in keeping the force as it is without diminishing its robustness. So Jim, I think it's always good to have you here in Jerusalem. Always it's good to welcome a friend, a knowledgeable person, and somebody who knows what he's talking about. And of course, Lenny Ben David, one of the organizers. His name precedes him. But actually, am I here to present the... No, but I have to because they're good friends. And Robert Stearns, it's...
away all my introductions.
Robert Stearns is like a brother to all of us, a real friend, and a staunch supporter to Israel, which brings many, many thousands of supporters to Israel and for the Jewish people and the Jewishness of the Jewish people. And this is what's important. And of course, Elliot Engel, nobody has to say too much about him. In my mind, one of the most prestigious members of Congress, and certainly the Foreign Affairs Committee. And when Elliot speaks, the world listens, and especially leaders, and sometimes leaders that should shake in their boots when they have to meet Elliot Engel. So all of them are really leaders, and great to see you. And again, Nathan, thank you, and I hope I'm not taking your job here in introducing everybody, but I felt like I had to because I know all of them personally so well. When we talk about Israel-U.S. relations and where do they go, I think we are on a very, very, I would say, almost predetermined track here, because the alliance between Israel and the United States is a natural one, which you know, and I don't have to explain here too much and expound too much on the values, on the interests, on the ethos that we share. We look up to the United States as the greatest nation, the greatest democracy. For us, the United States is not only a country or a fellow democracy or a real great ally, the best ally we have, but it's also an ideal. And I think it's vice versa as well. Also, we share the same interest when we go to see how we would like the Middle East to be, and how the Middle East should be kept abreast with the rest of the world, certainly as we see such major geopolitical changes and also technological changes which also affect today the geopolitics in the world. Today, there is a real external problem, which is Iran. Everything bad in the Middle East and beyond comes from Iran. The gateway to the Middle East for Iran is Syria. There has been a debate going on about Israel-Syrian rapprochement or trying to get together in some kind of a process. We know that parallelly the United States is trying a rapprochement with Syria and sending indeed an ambassador. I believe it's pending approval in the Senate. I hope that Senator Shelby will pull the plug or will allow this to continue. But if you look at, again, at the interest, whether it's in Syria or Iraq or Iran or the Palestinians, we look at things from the same perspective, the same outlook. Now, this is not to say that there may be some differences of opinion, which are very legitimate. Case in point is the settlement issue. You know our position. We have always said the settlements has never been an obstacle. We draw, and I think we corroborate this by looking at history, where there were no settlements in Judea and Samaria after If we go back to 29, the massacre in 29, the fall of Gush Etzion in 48, the fall of the old city in 48. Since from 48 until 67, there wasn't even one Jew living in our ancestral home in Judea and Samaria. And still, was there any peace? Was there anybody who was thinking about peaceful coexistence, accepting Israel here as a Jewish state, welcoming us as a nation which can not only contribute here to the region, but also is an indelible or has an undeniable part here, since we are an integral part of this region. No, from 48 to 67, there wasn't a day go by without terrorism, without delegitimacy, without economic warfare against us. If we look also forward, and we talk about any arrangement with the Palestinians, you cannot single out any one issue. Certainly not the settlements. There are many other things that should be on the table, starting still with the commitments of the Palestinian Authority to, they try to hold us to the commitments, which is fine, still the roadmap to peace, but who remembers that still in the roadmap to peace, the Palestinian Authority, the first obligation is to outlaw all the terror organizations, including Hamas. Have they done it? Not even close. Have they collected all the illegal weapons over there? Not really close. It is true that they are moving forward, and we very much appreciate. And again, the United States here is the indispensable country by helping building capacity for the Palestinian Authority. They wouldn't be able to do it without General Dayton, and we appreciate very much what they do. But it's still not enough, and it will take time for them to really have more or a robust capability. But what about incitement? Have they done anything on incitement? Not really. Today we see no difference between the incitement which goes on in the mosques by the imams, or in the schools, Palestinian schools through the curriculum, or in their websites, or by their media, or everywhere in the world through NGOs. Today they try to actually intertwine legal warfare, abusing the legal system against us, and political warfare. This is what we see in London. I believe the speaker here before me got the wrath of this campaign. But also there is no difference between what they do, whether they go, and it's not Hamas, it's not some esoteric people of the Palestinian Authority. We see Mr. Fayyad, which is the most, let's say, Western, educated and oriented, talking about Mr. Fayyad himself, and Mr. Abu Mazen, who go from capital to capital to defame Israel, to discomfit, to condemn Israel, to really vilify Israel. Case in point, OECD. Israel is going to join the OECD. Whether they would like it or not, it's on our own merit to join the OECD by June this year. It's the most prestigious club of industrial developed countries. What does Fayyad do? And I just came back from Europe. He's talking to foreign ministers and members of parliament in the European Union not to include, to block Israel's joining the OECD. It's a non-political organization. Still, he doesn't have to do it. I mean, he goes above and beyond duty, I say. Same thing is with Goldstone, the same thing with the Council, the so-called Council of Human Rights in Geneva, and this is also part of the incitement against Israel. Also, it's the Palestinian Authority, which is in a very concerted way sending students, which call Kill the Jews or Itbach al-Yahud and all this. There's no difference between this incitement. Last conference of Fatah, the sixth conference of Fatah, the conclusion was that a call for what they call the mukawama, a laundered word for terrorism, or what they call the armed struggle. But not only that, Abu Mazen again here went beyond the call of duty, quote unquote, and called for emphasizing education, the younger generation, for this armed struggle, let alone the fact that in the Fatah constitution, still they talk about the elimination of the State of Israel. Mind you, it's not the Hamas, it's the Fatah. So there's a lot that they could do to build or to start building a trust with us. So to focus everything on one issue of settlement is wrong. And I think today, after some, thank you. I think after some initial learning curve, and we have to be objective here. Last year there was a new government in Israel, a new administration in Washington. We still had to feel the waters to kind of get used to, and it takes time to get used to work with each other, but I think we have always worked with each other with transparency, with great respect, and again with understanding that we are working together. And I think very confidently today, after a year almost of working together, I think today Israel and the United States, I mean the administration and the government, are reading from the same page today. And I think what Senator Mitchell did was a great job, and he was tenacious, he was focused, and he showed a lot of perseverance. And 2 weeks ago, his last visit, he put on the table an offer for us and for the Palestinians. We accepted it. We are yet to hear from the Palestinians. So this is just to allay any fears that there are any hiccups or problems. There are no problems with the American administration, which we appreciate very much, and we will go together. Last thing I want to say, just again to corroborate my words, and then I'll finish, is that on all the strategic issues and all the understandings, we have very, very close cooperations. So when it comes to the security, when it comes to the welfare of Israel, we continue to work together in a very, very close way, in understanding that it's not only a one-way street, although we, with all due respect to ourselves, we are the junior partner here, but it's very important for the two countries, and this will continue. And the uniqueness of the Israel-US relations is that we have always had the most profound and strong relationship, which was irrespective or independent of some local disputes. We never let any dispute to spill over to the entire relationship, the strategic relationship, which is so important. When people talk about U.S.-Israel relations, the first thing comes to mind is the strategy, the defense, intelligence, military, but economic. You know, we are, I'm always proud to say that, that Israel is the largest partner of the largest trading partner of the United States in the Middle East. Israel, we buy more American services and goods here than any of the countries around us. So everything, you know, in every facet of the relationship, it only bodes well, and I believe it will continue to be very, very important, and this is really the cornerstone of stability in this region and beyond. Thank you very much.